Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gills, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. I am here. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. Welcome to the office. Welcome to my home. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. BGD's here and has come in and kind of saved us for today, because I was like, okay, so what? I hadn't gotten a chance to work further since Sunday on the Tales of Rabivania. I was working on the cultists, but I got BGD sent me a bunch of notes on the Tales of Rabivania classes, and we're going to take a look at his notes and see if we can't get these classes to the point where with a little bit more polish, maybe then we can make characters and actually play with stuff. Hey, good morning, Robert. Good morning. Let's see. Better with Bacon is here. The Titter Pig Rancher is here. Good morning. Mike is here. And Inner Light is here. Hey, Inner Light. Good morning. Good morning. Great to see you. Great to see you this morning. Yes, it has been a while. Let's see. So what's going on? Okay, well, first of all, I'll bring up this. So in what I have been working on, I finally got InDesign kind of working for me. And which is important, because really as far as important software goes for the kinds of things I do, that video editing software, obviously, but then also layout software, because originally I was going to have somebody else do all the layout, and that person was actually be Brianna, because she's a graphic designer and she's really good at stuff like this, and she laid out some of the cultist stuff. She laid out the character sheets, but now she is doing, oh, this is not right here. Well, this is what am I using? So this is InDesign at the moment. I still have the Adobe software suite. So at the moment, this is InDesign, because it had been started in InDesign. And so at the moment, that's what it is. So I figured out, does OpenOffice have layout software? I mean, I know that they've got, like Microsoft Word and things like that. But anyway, so I've been kind of struggling trying to figure out InDesign, which is kind of crazy because I mean, I'm not an expert wizard at Illustrator or something like that, but I use Adobe products before, but for some reason InDesign is just something else. But I finally I said, all right, so I sat down, I spent some kind of spent many hours actually on Monday saying, okay, it's time to dig into this. And I basically laid out everything in the Cultists RPG book. One of the things that we're going to do when the Kickstarter goes live is add some things to this book. But I really do like the way I've got the layout going here. Rather than doing things like the Cult of the Yellow King or the Cult of Nodens as kind of a standalone sheet that is, packaged separately, being that this book became such a massive thing and everything that it is, I decided that basically all of the material needed to go in the book. So it'll be a completely standalone book. So we'll design a few more things live online and we'll just put them into the book. But basically, so it's not done yet because all of the material isn't quite done yet. But I believe as far as all the material that we have, which is considerable, it is currently laid out. We've got the Care Bear right there on the altar, and the fish. So I'm pretty proud of this. I think it looks pretty good. And it's much more than I expected. I mean, like with everything I do, it's scope creep, because I was thinking that this needed to be like, oh, this is going to be like just a 24 or no, 48 page. What is my example here? None of these are going to be that anymore. But I was thinking, oh, yeah. How many pages is this? Yeah, 48, little 48 page book. This was our sample. And it is much more than that now. This is... how many pages did this end up being? 103. So I mean, it's kind of strange, kind of a strange book size. 103 pages, and I was thinking it might be thick enough. I'm going to look at that later. It might be thick enough that for the Kickstarter to do like a hardback book of it to make sense, because I was thinking it would just be softback. But it's like for some kind of Kickstarter exclusive or something like that, it might be worth making a hardback for it, because I think it's probably thick enough to actually do that. So I'm proud of it, because I've also, like, these are the ones that Brianna laid out. So Brianna laid out these character sheets. And we got some other alternative characters, like an alternative version of Acantha to think up. So that's why, that's one of the things to be added right there. Another character to be added right there later. But nonetheless, I think it looks good. 2 characters right there. Garrett, the Ranger. We're talking a lot about Rangers lately, from the Cult of Nodens, Evander, Mike, an alternate Rob there. So this, there might be a little bit more polishing that needs to be done, but basically, that is the book. So there's Shay. There we go. So anyway, all right. So that was that's being done. Let's see here. Yeah, I remember you talking about, because I remembered that later. Syrapix says InDesign is indeed weirdly different from a lot of other Adobe software, because it was acquired because it acquired the Aldous Corporation to get PageMaker. I remembered that later that it was PageMaker. At the time, I remember that being out there, and that became Adobe. I hadn't thought about that until you brought that up. So, but I think I finally figured out how to get it to do what I wanted it to do. So, okay, we'll come back up here. I'll come back to BGD's notes. Does InDesign have pre-formatted options for different page sizes? Looking for A5 mostly. Well, I think it depends on what you mean by pre-formatted. I mean, it'll let you do any kind of different page size. So this actually makes me really want to start this Rabivania book, the layout for this Rabivania book, because like I was struggling with this for so long to make it look the way they want to do. I think we could probably do a really cool Rabivania book now. And we've got some 5e stuff, and we've got we're about to have the index card RPG stuff, and I still want to do the OSE stuff. That would get 3 different book versions. And I would also like to I was thinking if we get some books going on, I'd like to go back to a convention or something. maybe I was thinking yesterday. I've been thinking for a little while, but yesterday I was thinking I think it's time to start trying to go to a convention again. Okay, so that's going on. And then tonight at 7:00 p.m. Central on the Cultist channel. Let me take this down. Let me see here. I also been working on a music video for the Cultists and the ABCs. The Muppet ABCs. I was working on that last night. Let me go over here. Oh, I have my camera in a strange place because I still have the camera mount fell. So tonight at 7:00, right here, 7:00 p.m. Central. I'll put this out on the Discord server. Summoning a Fish Familiar over here on the Cultist YouTube channel. If you're not over here, I'm gonna put this right here. Season 2, episode 2. I also got to put out emails about that. Yeah, I'm working on, in order to experiment with some of the AI filmmaking stuff and all the AI video. Well, I've been experimenting with that over the past, basically a year, putting together different videos and stuff like that. Music videos. I decided that as a kind of a final test, I think what might be a final test before then I go and actually do something in Rabivania, because I think the tech is actually there to do something really nice in Rabivania now. But in order to do an additional experiment, I said, hey, I'm going to do this video, a music video. I kind of had this idea that, like, what if the Muppets on Sesame Street started doing drugs, formed a heavy metal band, and started worshiping Cthulhu, but they still want to teach you the alphabet? Like, what would that be like? And so I've been putting together this heavy metal band singing you the ABCs on Sesame Street for the Cultist channel, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. I might bring that out. Like, I'm hoping to get that done so that, like, during the Kickstarter or something like that, we can bring that out and and premiere it or something like that. So anyway, so that is at 7:00 tonight. Summoning a Fish Familiar. That explains how Rob got his fish. Season 2, episode 2, and then right after that, someone you haven't seen on the channel quite in a while. So at 7:10 p.m., basically right after, the Cultist season 2 episodes 1 and 2 behind the scenes discussion with Brianna Da Silva. So Brianna will be, now this was pre-recorded, but we'll be talking about that tonight. And she'll be, since she wasn't there for episode 1, we talk about episode 1 and 2 together. There. She is doing well. I was still talk to her. She is I've noticed she put out a TikTok. So she actually has a TikTok account now. And she's using to market her short film. I feel like an extremely gravelly voice this morning. she's using this to market. She's started a TikTok. I know she put several TikToks out about trying to create her horror short film. So if you're on TikTok, you look up Brianna De Silva, and she is there. So I think she's trying to market. She's going to do a crowdfunding campaign to make this short film that she wants to be like her calling card for Hollywood. The short film to be her calling card. I'll of course let you know when that's live and stuff like that. But I did notice it looks like she's gonna be marketing that through TikTok. I am not going to sit here and sing for you. All right, so that is what is going on right now. Let's see. All right, so let me take this down, and then we will breathe and sip. Let's see. Should I bring up? Well, let's breathe and sip first. Everybody got something to drink here? Let's breathe and sip. Let's take 2 deep breaths. 2 deep breaths, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. Deep inhales, complete exhales, and then we will sip. Here we go. And sip. All right, black coffee. I like it. Okay, let's see. What do I put up on screen? I'll put up I'll bring up the book itself right here. On one hand, I'm also kind of scared to find out, like I really am excited about putting this into layout software and start laying these things out and making these books. But on the other hand, I don't know what kind of size they're going to be. I said, yeah, hey, what am I trying to do? I was originally just trying to make, a few of these little, 48-page books, but apparently I don't know how much text goes in these books. and I wildly overestimated and wildly overwrote. So I could probably, I have done that with Rabivania as well, even though this was just supposed to be like a world primer. Probably, I don't know. We will see. We will see. There's been 9 by 6 pages. We will just have to see. So yeah, even though I hadn't written more, we got BGD's notes, but I've been thinking like in the context of I've been thinking quite a bit more about it. Let's see. Which ones did BGD send? Let's find out. Okay, let's start with Troubadour. Because I that's the one that I didn't have. I had the least. I wasn't quite finished with that one. And I didn't have a perfect feel of yet when I was working on this. So let's go down to Troubadour. We have to come up with a great. I don't have anything written for this too, and I don't see these may not. Now that we're writing them, are they all going to go into the world primer? Because originally I just had Knight, Druid, Witch, and Damsel, but now we've written them, so I guess might as well. We'll see. Okay, so Troubadour. This looks like BGD's description right here. Troubadour, a traveling performer with formidable talent and appreciable renown who operates with graceful effectiveness in social circles, both high. I do have this up, right? Yes. Okay. Both high and low, able to captivate. I don't know this word. Inveigle or mollify others with ease. Okay. There we go. Okay, starting abilities. BGD recommends, I'll just copy them all over here. BGD recommends Wonder why that's not coming in right. Balladeer, your music rallies the weary and steals the wavering. Once per scene, perform a song with charisma. On a success, reduce your ally's target by 2, so long as you continue singing the song or playing the tune, spending an action each round. Okay, that works. Because that was something that basically I had right here. So that's this one. Okay, that's the classic bard stuff. Classic bard right there. Con artist. More than a mere performer, you're an expert grifter. Lying is your art form. Roll easy to convince someone of doing something for D4 rounds, but suffer a -1 penalty for each additional subject of your ruse. Oh, that's interesting. And I do kind of like that. I mean, con artist, we do have, knave. So you might think, okay, that could go with knave. But on the other hand, in one of the main timeline stories, I do have, I call her Lady Bard. At the moment, I don't think that I had a name for her yet, but there's basically a troupe of performers, who are coming through, and grifting a little bit. It's probably something that they do, they do the singing and stuff like that, but also I can see them also, doing some underhanded things to try to shake some coins loose out of somebody. They're itinerates. They just travel around in wagons, from place to place, performing for coin and whatever else, and probably doing a little bit of grifting. So we had copycat. See, I had so this is kind of a modification of thespianism. So I had that with charisma roll, you may convince others of of even wild or absurd falsehoods. The belief lasts 1d4 rounds, or until reality violently contradicts it. Okay, so I like that. Okay, all right. So that was BGD's recommendation here. Let's see. Overwriting is usually the tradition for first and second drafts. Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Interlight had been working on an RPG as well. I've been working on a new sword and sorcery RPG I'm calling Blood and Iron, although the title seems borrowed for some reason, so it may change. Iron and Blood. So I've seen this done. Right, okay, so now here, okay, I've seen this done once per scene. So I said once per scene, make any check using intelligence, wisdom, or charisma is easy, even a skill you've never used before. And so BGD said, copycat, you're a quick study and you've seen many things. Observe an opponent's move or skill, any action requiring an attribute check, and then use their bonus to mimic or imitate the same action on your turn in the subsequent round. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So that's like, I mean, I can see somebody like, so this does require observe. Now, does the observation require an action? It seems like it should. So you're observing an action that requires an attribute check, but then use their bonus to mimic or imitate the same action on your turn in the subsequent round. Do we need to say take an action to that? Because that's the downside, that you've got to like be focused in on what that person's doing, right? Take an action to observe an opponent's move or skill. Oh, it has to be an opponent's. Take an action to observe an opponent's move or skill. What if, because I was actually thinking that you were going to use this to duplicate some of, let's see, I didn't have the duplication. I had once per scene, make any check using int, wisdom, or charisma as easy, even a skill you've never used. Can you do this to a friend? Like, what was the idea? Opponent's move or skill? Because what if, could this be an ally. Let's see. BGD, I was inspired to riff off your original ability. I can foresee some fantastic entities. Oh, no. BGD says I would not require an action to observe. So this is an action to observe. I'm going to put that in brackets then. Go back up here. Whether or not this requires an action to. If you witness an opponent trying to do something cool your next turn, yeah, it makes sense to, if it's an opponent and you're like using, that doesn't make any sense to require that to require an observation action. Yeah, that does not make sense. Because if they do something to you, like right then you try to copy it. I was thinking like, somebody trying to jump over a pit. So like here's what I do when they do like some kind of parkour move to jump over this pit, and then you're watching and then you follow along. But in that case, like you'd have to be like, here's what we're gonna do. Okay, observe, and then you can do it too. So Inner Light says, I wouldn't say it requires an action. It might require being in the same area where the action use can be observed. Yeah. Yeah, observe. That kind of implies that you are in that area. Okay, so so BGD says, I think the key limiting factor is that you have to attempt it immediately on your next turn. To imitate the same action on your turn. Yeah, so the limiting factor is it has to be the next thing you do. The same action on your next, in the subsequent round. On you, can we just say can we just say on your next turn? Gotcha. Right. And we're not trying to bank the skill. Right. You can't bank the skill. Yeah. So if you're chasing a bad guy and he vaults to the next rooftop, you can try the exact same thing. Yeah. Or like if you're following along an ally, I think it should be both. So then let's say, so it doesn't require an action to observe. Because if you're like running, I like the rooftop running example. You're running double time, and the guy ahead of you, whether that's an ally or an opponent, vaults across the rooftop with a jump. You can also try it as long as it's the next turn. Observe another's. Let's just say another's. So you can keep up with somebody or try. I like that. Okay, let's go to starting loot. See, I was wondering the scarf. Maybe this needs to be changed to hood. We'll do that. We might do that. All right. So allies. There we go. Observe any move or skill. Oh, yeah. Observe. Yeah. Why don't we say that? Observe. Wait, observe. What did you say? Observe any move or skill. Should this be their bonus? Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got with starting loot. I'll come back and clean all of this up. I had fine instrument, wanderer's hood, and some kind of weapon. See, I was wondering, could this character class be completely non-combative? you know, because we've been trying to come up with, you know, the outside combat, you know, a defensive and then a combat kind of move for everybody. But as I was sitting here trying to get a grasp on what this could be, I was thinking, well, you know, this could be an entirely non-combat class. Wanderers, let's say hood. Because, you know, the hoods, they will that you can wear in multiple styles, you know, up around the head, wrap it up around your head, or down and loose. So the hood could be something you could change in a bunch of different ways. So first impressions, wearing this hood are charisma or easy charisma, and you can roll charisma in place of int or wisdom to answer interrogating questions or pass as someone else. Okay, no, well, so okay, so mastercraft instrument, a superbly constructed harp, lute, pipe, or drum. Its tone rich, stirring, and unmistakably yours. Once per scene location, spend your action to play an inspiring song that allows a specific ally, including yourself, to bank 1d12 to add to any subsequent roll in the same location. Exactly. Exactly. Yes, it's exactly what I'm thinking about. Yes. I can add that word in. That's because that's exactly the kind of hood that I was thinking of. BGD says, I own a lyre piped hood. I wear it infrequently. I also do, and I also wear it infrequently. Although I wish I wore it more frequently. BGD says, I wouldn't make any class non-combative. Instead, I would look to offer a way for every class to support and participate in each pillar of play, combat, exploration, and role play in a unique and effective way. Well, you know, participating here is, you know, depending on how you're defining that. You know, the balladeer, that's participating in combat. I mean, that's kind of the thing they do in combat. So when we were talking about, okay, need to come up with a starting weapon, like that, you know, some type of option here that was specifically, you know, for them to inflict damage. I was trying to, I hadn't come up with a good one yet. Now, here's a question though, and I want to go back as I'm going back through these and going through all of them. I think my initial understanding of like the magic and the D12s, I just, so we got D12 here. So it's including yourself to bank 1 D12 to add any subsequent roll from the same location. Because, you know, my big thing, so this is operating in the context of the index card RPG, which does use D20s, which everybody here knows my issues with that as far as dealing with randomness and all of that. And I want to look at this closely as I go through. So you've got this mastercraft instrument, and you can bank 1 D12. If I go back through here, and BGD, you probably know the answer to this, but would there be any problem with making this 2d6? So, you know, because with D12, you're all over the place. I mean, you could be adding, you know, whatever, everything's good. So in places like that I'm seeing, I think that it will play more like the way that I would want it to play and like for things to play. If instead of giving yourself banking 1d12, you're banking 2d6. That gives you some possible better understanding of what this mastercraft instrument's going to do, because the D12 is going to be wild. And that means I'm going to need to change our understanding of like the great and magic and stuff like that. And now that's, you know, the next time I'm on a first date, that's exactly what I should do. Oh, what? I can't believe this. Ordinarily, it's Titter Pig Rancher teaching us the ways to pronounce things and new words. So we taught, and this time, Inner Light got to teach Titter Pig Lyripipe. You like the weapon for the damsel? I mean, that's inspired by what's behind me. That the image behind me. We've got the damsel right there, knighting the guy with the slender silver blade. So, I think of it primarily being kind of a ceremonial weapon, but then I thought that giving it some type of magical powers in the context of this game also makes sense. So, okay, well then if we want so 1d12 embraces the swing of a uniform distribution and a chance of a big surprise, which adds drama. 2d6 implies a pyramidal distribution where a plus 6 to plus 8 is 67% likely to happen. I mean, okay, there's a chance. Well, but there's also a chance for a big surprise on the 2d6 because you can, that will be double 6. You can still get the 12. So I mean, this is a play style thing, right? So all right, I'm going to use my once per scene or location or whatever. Once per scene at a location. You can once per scene at a single location. All right, hey, I need to use it. 1 1. I mean, I'm the guy who rolls 1 2 3 1 2 2. What do you want this to do? I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it. BGD's on the other side of this. I think it's important not to flatten the randomness too much and make the game overly predictable. Okay, what kind of weapon? If we're gonna go a weapon one, if you want to have some kind of weapon, what kind of weapon does a troubadour have? That I was looking at what was in here in the index card RPG for their bard. And the bard does have heirloom weapon. Heirloom, your weapon is a treasure. Always do ultimate damage when dueling. Now, I guess that requires so I mean, we don't have to declare a specific type of weapon, but in this one, okay, I suppose, but in this one says heirloom, your weapon is a treasure. Always do ultimate damage when dueling. So I guess that's going to be up to the game master to determine when you are actually in a duel. Because I can see that being rather narrow, actually. I can see that being rather narrow. You always do ultimate damage when dueling, but most like fights in a melee with your allies would not be a duel, right? That to me seems like a more formal kind of thing. So it might not come up that often. Something like a rapier or something that's outside of the time period and not thematically appropriate right here. I thought I had something about well, okay, actually, no, come to think of it, up here on Bard, one of the starting abilities is Provoker. Hurl insults at one enemy. They cannot resist dueling with you. So in that case, if you have Provoker, then in the index card RPG here, you're hurling insults at one enemy, and then that tells you when you are dueling. Okay, so you can basically pull off one enemy to duel with them. But that still doesn't seem like it fits right for what we're trying to do here. And see, yeah, rapier. That's outside of the time period. hidden dagger. Now that could be it. Kind of playing off the con artist kind of side of things. This could also kind of go with the knave kind of thing, where you've got like a concealable weapon. I mean, I can see that working. Titterpig says, I do tend to enjoy bell curve distribution better than straight percentage rolls, unless you're using a skill-based 100% scale and defining the actual range of success. Hey, PH, good morning. BGD says it'd be cool if you had an instrument that becomes a weapon, like a dagger into a flute. I've not thought about that. Okay, I'm thinking that some kind of concealable weapon might be the. What do you think? Like always hard to find. Allowing you to kind of infiltrate with this thing, maybe. Let's go on. Let's do another one. Let's see. What else did BGD send? Ranger. Okay, so the Ranger, yeah, I get really into the Ranger. And actually, James Bacon was saying that he might want to play a Ranger. All right, so what does BGD recommend about the Ranger? We can talk about foresters. In a longer kind of thing about this, we can talk about foresters. I like that. Whether outlaw, scout, prince in exile, or rogue of the trees, you live by instinct, speed, and skill, moving across the kingdom and back before pursuers can even don their armor to follow you. Okay, so we got Pathfinder, Eagle Eye, and Heir of Command. Okay, so Pathfinder, BGD still wisdom checks to determine location, direction, or route, or checks to follow the tracks of a subject are easy. Roll normal wisdom to track untrackable targets like druids. Okay, so like we said, how does this interact with the druid's cloak, which we might be making a little bit not as so well anyway. Okay, so Pathfinder now, according to or BGD's recommendation, is Pathfinder wisdom checks to determine location, direction, or route, or checks to follow the tracks, or checks to follow the tracks. Follow the track of a subject are easy. Roll normal wisdom to trace untrackable targets like cloaked druids or invisible foes. Eagle Eye. Expend 1 turn to aim. Your ranged attack on your subsequent turn is either easy or deals maximum damage, your choice. Okay. So we talked about this last time. Your next attack with a bow or crossbow is easy, and if it hits, you deal maximum damage. BGD is going to let you choose. I like that. All right, let's go with that. Expend 1 turn to aim. Your ranged attack on your subsequent turn is either easy or deals maximum damage. Your choice. I like that. I like that a lot. Later, Innerlight. Concealable weapon could take up 0 inventory space as well. Always saying, oh, let me make note of that. Going down here to Troubadour, if it's a concealable weapon, takes up no inventory space. A jester's staff would be historically appropriate, and apparently they often had hidden blades in them. I didn't know that. Right, yeah. The jester staff is more traditionally known as a fool's bauble or marotte. I don't know that word either. A small decorative scepter held by jesters and fools. BGD says, I was also willing to expand Eagle's Eye to any ranged attack like a thrown dagger or axe. Okay, so let's go back there. So Eagle Eye, your ranged attack on your subsequent turn is easy or deals maximum damage. Oh yeah, so I had specifically had it about bows or crossbows, but you just said ranged attack, which would allow someone to also throw an axe or a dagger or something like that, or a dart or something. Yep, there we go. Hey, Michael. So, okay, so that also makes it more general right here. So that you're not doing both easy and maximum damage. We're doing one or the other, but your choice, which is fun, but then also ranged attacks as well. Because I was thinking about this one being in terms of Robin Hood. If you want to play Robin Hood, Errol Flynn's Robin Hood, that's the one that you should take. I like that one. But yeah, so you got something else that throws. That's fine. I like that. Okay, so PH says just one idea. Rabbits are known for digging and entering difficult terrain like bushes full of thorns. Have you thought about weapons, classes, or fighting styles? I haven't. But those seem like our species stuff, which we do need. So right now we're just doing rabbits. And like I said, with this book, there's probably something that we need. I've got a place for the species of rabbit right here. Later in some further book, we would add the different, mice and other playable kinds of creatures where that kind of stuff would come up. Right. Yes. Also jumping high or fast sprints. Yes. Okay. So Heir of Command. I had once per session or scene. I don't know why I use session right here. You may issue a command to allies that makes their next roll to fulfill the command easy, so long as it's swift, clear, and bold and acted upon directly. So BGD has spend your action to utter aloud a direction, appeal, or entreaty to a specific near ally other than yourself. And that ally's action will be easy if they follow your command. Okay. So, yeah, so we're not restricting this to once per scene anymore. So BGD's recommendation here is spend your action to utter aloud a direction, appeal, or entreaty to a specific near ally other than yourself. And that ally's action will be easy if they follow your command. And that ally's next action. I like it. All right. Okay, so here, let's talk about, this is a great time to talk about the differences in these different effort types. Okay, so heirloom blade. Let me check the comments. Given player's choice in the middle, action is always a plus. Yeah, species abilities we're gonna have to talk about. Hey, good morning, Andrew. Michael says I need to read or reread the ICRPG. I mean, there's a lot about it that I really like. Okay, so let's these different types of efforts. This melee weapon deals magic effort, and once per session, when used in defense of your homeland or allies, it automatically hits and deals ultimate effort. But I'm wondering, does that actually need to be greater effort? Let's see what BGD said. Recommended. A revered sword passed down through the centuries among stewards of the forest. Deals D10 magic damage on a successful hard strength attack roll, or D6 weapon damage on a normal success. So so this is just one attack roll, and if it happens to have been made hard, then so plus three over the target, then you're going to deal D10 magic damage. But here's no, I think it does. No, it does. We got to put that in there, because I did write rabbits like here's the 5e rabbit traits, which includes long jump and burrower and keen ears. I just haven't written anything for the ICRPG right now. So no, I think that needs to be taken into account. Andrew says, one of the Kickstarters I backed had a Zoom with the writer as part of the backer package. It was a fun item that I never used. I think that there were maybe 6 or 7 of them on the Zoom. Oh. Right. So it reverts. So my question is, okay, so when we're building out these different types of effort damage, and I mentioned this before, but one of the parts of your character creation is, let's see, boost at step 3. I'm on page 26 of the master edition anyway. Step 6, boost effort types. In the core system, you learned about the central concept of rolling effort in ICRPG. Here's your chance to add bonuses onto these rolls during character creation, giving your character affinity for weapons, magic, or the risky business of ultimate. You're allotted 4 total points to spend here. Okay, so my understanding is, let's say you are let's say you're a ranger. Well, you're a ranger with a sword. Oh, okay, like this one right here. You're a ranger and you want to use swords, so you're going to use your effort type as weapon. And let's say you want to go hardcore into that, so you take all 4 of your points and put that into weapon effort. So you're going to be dealing D6 plus 4. Anytime you use any type of weapon or tool, you're going to get plus 4. So now I've got this sword. So do I want to deal D6? So if I just attack normally, I do D6 plus 4. I mean, D6 plus 4 is pretty good, I think. But no, I just succeeded on this hard strength roll. My strength roll went to hard, and now it's magic. So now instead of getting to do D6 plus 4, I just have to do D10. Well, I'd rather roll D6 plus 4. So in that case, it seems like it's a negative that all of a sudden I'm dealing D10 magic damage. Does that make sense? So I can see a situation where I don't want my effort die to be increased. Now, if I had used, if I'd said, plus 2, I'm not going to be hitting magic all that often. So that's why I only put those plus bonuses in the weapon, right? Now, but you could do, during character creation, you could have said I'm going to do plus 2 magic and plus 2 weapon. So but and if I had done, if I just had +2, that would be, D6 +2. Now I'm doing magic damage, and I can roll D10. The BGD says most GMs would allow you to apply the more advantageous effort bonus. Okay, if that's true, then I think that that needs to be specified and clarified, because I don't. If it's ordinarily, I think that's what I would do too. If you got a +4 to the weapon, and now all of a sudden you made this and you get to roll D10, I think I would let you roll D10 +4 damage. Well, right, and you could put effort into magic, but I think that's the solution. That I wouldn't want the player, if it's ordinarily, this is supposed to be a bonus. Yeah, Mike says, I'm not an expert in ICRPG, but I would clarify that issue rather than letting that be a GM to GM decision. I think I would too in here. And I'm still reading over most of this. And BGD says, yeah, most GMs, but I would not, because I'm a stickler like that. So I don't want there to be a situation where, does that mean that I should be using bonuses to damage? Like, should this be like +3 damage or something? Deals +3 damage on a successful hard strength hit, rather than going to a different type of going to a different type of effort. Because you could either specify this like Mike is talking about, or should this be like +3? Or whatever. I mean, it's giving you the potential to do 4 more points of damage, whatever the math is there. Or a bonus to damage if I just hit hard, then I get a bonus to damage. And we skip, like, should I be writing them all like that? That would allow me to just skip any of the issues involving that. Now, I can see in some settings, like when I'm thinking about some of the bad guys in Dungeons and Dragons, that, you must be hit, can only be hit by magic weapons. Okay, well, in ICRPG, that may well be magic, like can only be hit by magic effort, right? Not weapon damage with a bunch of bonuses, but actually magic damage. In that kind of environment, then if I hit strong with this weapon, I'm actually doing magic damage, and then that would be something you wouldn't want to give up. Yeah, I might be doing less damage, but now I'm actually doing magic damage, and there are some enemies that can only be hurt by magic. So I, in that case, would definitely want my sword to upgrade to magic damage. Mike says, on one hand, that makes sense, but on the other hand, adding little bonuses here and there starts making its own problems, like D&D 3.x. Yeah, this just seems like a point that requires, and in some sense, like, what am I trying to do? Like, I think this is supposed to be better. Yeah, this is supposed to be a bonus. Michael says, or BGD says, Michael says, I do have absolute, GMs do have absolute arbitration. However, like the rules, if the rules create friction repeatedly, it can cause real problems and slow things down. BGD says, a tactical power gamer playing a ranger using that weapon principally would put those bonus points into magic, and living with the weaker standard hits, it's not really an issue. Yeah, yeah. So, but it's only gonna be 15. So only 15% of the time. if it hits, only 15% of the time is it doing weapon damage. I mean, that's a good point too, that this is that. Well, on the D20, 15% of those rolls could be hits that would just be D6 weapon damage. We'll look at where else it comes up. We'll look at where else it comes up if it comes up again. Hey, let me grab something else to drink. Just 1 second. Hey, look, Yeti Hug Break. We'll keep going. It's been an hour. I need to refill my cup here, but I want to keep going because I love talking to you about this, and we have all the notes here. So just 1 second. It is time for a Yeti Hug Break.
It's time for a Yeti Hug Break. Yeti Hug Break, Yeti Hug Break. Everybody go hug yo Yeti and show yo Yeti some love.
Yeah, thinking about that, if you've got that sword, you probably, the player would put those points into magic. That's what they would do. The principle of the whole situation, I want to see when it comes up again, but you're probably right that that's what would happen there. Let's see. Hey, later, BH. Talk to you later. We've looked at grit, haven't we? I believe we looked at grit. I think that's probably a morning grind on it. Okay, so where do we go from there? Let's see. So, well-worn bracers. I had waxed bark cloth bracers carved with imagery that reminds you of all you fight for and hold most dear. These bracers add +2 to defense and to dying timers. Oh, and so BGD has that except for added, and they occupy no inventory space. Okay, let's add that. And they occupy no inventory space. In Index Card RPG, you can hold 20 total items, right? 10 of which are equipped and 10 of which are stowed. So you get these bracers that don't require an inventory space. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I don't know where this came from. So fine longbow. I like this. So here's what BGD had. I do really like this idea of certain equipment only being available for, on the character list. And actually BGD, like, I really like the way of doing this with equipment that's specialized to them. So like, fine longbow, like, this U bow just isn't going to be available to other people because it's on a character sheet, right? And instead of having actual like restrictions on gear, just do it that way. I really like that. Are people sometimes, well, I guess we've done that kind of down here. Are milestone abilities, it makes me think that going forward, milestone abilities, equipment, are some people in the Index Card RPG, BGD, also doing additional equipment down here? I mean, it seems like that would work. I was thinking about that. Did I start to write that out with the knight? Because I was thinking then with like the knight, and I know we're not really going into the milestone abilities, but thinking along that idea right now, starting loot could be something like full mail, but then this plate augmented mail, the suit of armor is the pinnacle of Rabivanian armor smithing technology. Can that be a milestone something? Or loot? Use the word loot instead of equipment. But that would be milestone loot. And I think that would be a great way to handle it. Where do you find this plate augmented mail? Not on any type of list that you can just buy, not on an equipment list that you can just buy, but it's on the milestone knight. That's who's going to have it. A knight who has specifically taken this as his milestone if you want to be the tank. BGD says an armor item that can be equipped without taking up inventory space is quite valuable. Okay, BGD says, yes, you can have loot items as milestones. The 5 paths starting on Master Edition, page 67, lists many such items, and you can have milestone buffs for your starting loot items. Okay. Okay, milestone paths. Okay, I didn't exactly know what this was. I'm still reading through everything here. So this is coming after. Is that part of the warp spell? Warp shell? A milestone path gives you something to strive for, something to become. They can be used with any class. Think of a milestone path as the heroic realization of your character's goals, not the starting point. Milestone paths are a series of rewards earned at specific tiers. To access a tier, you must earn at least 2 rewards from the previous tier. Reward occurs at milestone moments. Path rewards are bound to you and cannot be given or traded with others. Players can switch paths at any time, mixing and matching to create all kinds of new synergies. The nature of the reward systems, those dedicated to a single path with deeper rewards, but allows jack-of-all-trades approaches who want to dabble in numerous paths. So this is the 5 paths: the path of iron, path of smoke, path of amber, path of oak, path of the hawk. And we have on the next page, path of iron, tier 1 rewards, then tier 2 rewards, tier 3 rewards, and tier 4 rewards. And we have to have at least 2 to access any tier. At least 2 rewards from the previous tier must be taken. Okay, I like that. I think you could build knights very well like this. I think you could build knights very well like that. Because in some sense, the knight is also, the knight is already a very advanced character. And I can see doing an alternate version of this where you're starting as a squire, and part of this is actually even becoming a knight. I mean, a big part of your milestone path would actually be getting knighted. And because a knight does, talking about you are what you wear kind of role playing, a knight does level up in no insignificant way because of his gear. In order to be a knight, you have to have certain gear. The hauberk, a sword, a lance, a shield, a helmet, and a fox of military quality. So, here you're kind of starting with all of that. We're just saying you're a knight. But, even getting the hauberk could be a big deal. BGD says the paths originated in Core 2.0 and were like mechanical support for narrative factions to differentiate PCs with otherwise similar builds. So I want to look at that. There might end up having to be like a complete knight kind of rebuild. Because I can also see that doing that with others. Like if you've got the people who are growing up, and they're pages and then squires and then they're becoming knights. But also, in some of these others, there might be a kind of career path as well. Let's go. Where were we? We were on Ranger. Okay. Titterpig is right. You could make Squire. That's the Knight. So the Knight is kind of like a prestige class. Yeah. Titterpig is right. You could make Squire Knight class and fix the progression to Knight with specified items over the first 3 milestones, culminating with being knighted. And I think that would be fun. And it would also, at least in the main timeline of the story that I was working on, it would allow you to play that kind of story where where the characters are not starting off as knights. That's what they're trying to become. On the other hand, when some people are sitting down to play a one-shot kind of game that was originally intended to be played with a very thin book, which is not the way this is gone, but originally intended that way. What do you want to sit down and play? A knight. I get it. You want to sit down and play a knight. So I think that should be an option. But there could be another option if you're playing an extended campaign where that's your goal. Okay. So fine longbow. Where were we? Right here. Okay, so we just did that one. So the powerful yew bow. Okay, I don't think we actually read it yet. A powerful yew war bow of the finest craftsmanship, hard decks to shoot closer in confined spaces, but never hard to shoot at further distances out to effective range. On a hard deck success, this bow deals ultimate damage. Wow. That's hardcore. That's hardcore. That would definitely let you, like, if you took that with, you're trying to be Robin Hood, and you've got your longbow. He operates in a forest, but I think of Robin Hood and his longbows. I mean, they are English, right? His longbow. I mean, he is English. So, yeah, hard decks to shoot in close or confined spaces, but never hard to shoot at further distances. On a hard deck success, you deal ultimate damage, and you take that away also with Eagle Eye, and your ranged attack on your subsequent turn is either easy or deals maximum damage, your choice. So you could be doing because you're still going to have to roll, and you're going to have to decide whether it can be easy or do maximum damage. If you roll and then you roll hard, then you just did 12 points of damage. That's pretty hardcore. I mean, it works like when you're talking about Robin Hood sinking arrows basically into the heart, especially like he's turning around on his horse and he's shooting backwards, thinking about the Errol Flynn Robin Hood. Like, he does a lot of sinking arrows into people's hearts, and they immediately drop. So that would definitely let you be Robin Hood. Well, right. Yes. Robin Hood. Yes. And that is also a knight. So, but that's kind of like his backstory, right? Why are you a knight? That is, in that movie anyway, because I have read Robin Hood stories where he's not a knight, but the Maid Marian asks him in that one. In fact, I probably have to turn this movie on after we're done here as I work. Why are you a knight out here, living in the forest and all of that? And Robin Hood explains that. Yeah, I think we write that up separately. I think that sounds like a separate kind of book, or supplement for it's not basically starting at 0th level. Yeah. BGD says you'd have to do the math and play test the Deadeye Ranger to make sure it doesn't get too OP as currently drafted, but it sounds really cool as written. Yeah, he's dealing out some death. Right now, he is definitely dealing out some death. Okay, so what else? Fine longbow. Okay. I'm going to sit here for a little while, a while longer on stream, because this going through BGD's notes is exactly what I would be doing here by myself this afternoon, like as soon as I get off stream. So why not sit here and do it on stream? So I'm just going to keep going. Okay. So, and BGD sent a lot of notes. So that was Ranger. Okay. Damsel. All right. I'm downloading now. let's go up here to damsel. Oh, right here. Okay. So I had Merciful Touch. I had once per scene, you may lay your paws on a creature to heal 1d6 HP and remove its fear, fatigue, and doubt. So Merciful Touch, BGD, a touch of your gentle paw eases pain and quiets the soul. Once per scene location, touch a creature to heal d6 points and remove fear, fatigue, and doubt. Oh, is that how you're going? Is that how you're going? You're going Deadeye Ranger? Okay, so that one basically stayed the same. BGD added a few things in here. Oh no, I had that up here. The touch of your, I mean, I had some stuff in italics. I don't know how I'm going to format it eventually, but okay, so that's the same information. Okay, so it looks like that one has stayed the same. Inspiring Presence. Once per scene, roll Charisma to reduce allies' target by 2. Inspiring Presence. Your words and bearing fill others with courage. Once per scene or location, spend your action to reduce the allies' target by 2 for 2d4 rounds. Yes. Okay. So that also differentiates it between the troubadours. We do have a little bit of duplication here with the troubadour. So let's see here. Actually, I kind of thought you were going the Aragorn type ranger, but you're going the Robin Hood type of ranger. We'll build a Robin Hood type of ranger. I keep oscillating on this, Michael. Michael says, I've always preferred skills and abilities over classes. But I find as I get older, I become increasingly anti-class level systems. See, coming from GURPS, I was a big fan of skill-based systems and let's not have classes. And then for a while, I was really big into the way that Fate does things. Oh, really? Okay. All right. We'll build both. We'll build both. I do have a Illustrator layout for the character sheets that I was starting to work on. We got to nail this down right here first. I really loved for a long time Fate's kind of idea of the high concept and the way that it was doing it. But on the other hand, I'm coming back around to classes just because they're easy, especially for, one shot, sit down, play, what type of world is this? Here are the type of, because like I said, I got to the point where I kind of realized, okay, let's do Star Wars. We're going to do it in GURPS. Let's do King Arthur, but we're going to do it in GURPS. The kinds of characters people create anyway are the type of archetypical characters for that story being told. Even if you say, hey, let's do Star Wars, we're going to do GURPS. People are still going to be creating the kind of character that, I want to play Han Solo. I want to play that kind of character. I want to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. I want to play Luke Skywalker, that kind of character. So why not just go ahead and set that up and make it easier? So the classes to me make it easier. So like what we're doing here is basically creating character classes. We could say, hey, this is Tales of Rabivania. We're doing this entirely by skills. To me, I'm thinking that just makes character creation harder because now the player has to think about that in order to create. I want you to be able to create a character fast. So here are the types of characters that exist in this world that you probably would create anyway, and we're just doing it faster. Yes, right. Okay, so yes, anyway, back to this. The troubadour stuff can be indefinite, but requires the troubadour to keep performing. The damsel can buff and go. Exactly. So the damsel, it's similar but different. So your words and bearing fills others with courage. Once per scene or location, spend your action to reduce target allies target by 2 for D4 rounds. Exactly. So the difference is she can buff and go but the troubadour could keep that up indefinitely. Oh, Mike is going classless right now. I bounce around with that. Like I go through cycles. All right, so I go through cycles on that. Now I'm liking spending the time in the game design up front to provide you with the classes to play the type of character you want to play. Okay, graceful word. Even intense company, your voice. Okay, even intense company, your voice carries disarming power. Charisma checks to persuade, diffuse conflict, or gain favor. Always easy, even with hostile or indifferent targets. Even intense company, your voice carries disarming power. Charisma checks to persuade, diffuse conflict, or gain favor. Or easy, even with. Okay, so that one didn't change. Okay, so there we go. All right. Silver chalice. An important symbol of faith, the antiseptic properties and sanctification of this vessel help heal the sick and wounded. Once per scene, location, once per scene / location, expend or spend your action to imbibe or administer a drink from this chalice to heal D10 magic hit points. All right, that one stayed. Silver sword. A slender long sword engraved with prayers and ivy. And vines of ivy. Okay, deals 1d10 magic effort. Deals magic effort to targets not of the Mirite faith. Once per scene, if you strike in defense of the weak and helpless, your attack becomes ultimate effort regardless of the target's faith. So BGD said a slender longsword with silvered blade. Engraved with prayers and vines of ivy, deals D10 magic effort to opponents outside the Mirite faith. Once per scene, can be bade to deal D12 ultimate damage in defense of the weak and helpless. Wounds the wielder if used to harm the innocent. Here, we'll put this down here. A slender longsword with a silvered blade engraved with prayers and vines of ivy deals D10 magic effort to opponents outside the mirror. Once per scene can be bade to deal D10 ultimate damage if used directly in defense. Yeah, see, I mean, that's the thing. Andrew says, yeah, fast setup is easier to integrate new players as well. In my limited experience, new players want to get playing quickly. And in this case, what like in this system, what would you want to play? A knight. Like a lot of people, a knight. Okay, well then here's exactly what you need to do in order to be a knight, right? Let's see. Okay, so I wonder how that works. That sounds like something that would actually be an earlier version, an earlier time when there is actually more magic in there. How does this work? How does this work in a low magic kind of environment? I can see it cursing or, baning. Banging. No, not banging someone. Bane or cursing or placing a bane upon someone who used it to harm an innocent person. Let's go over here to, okay, saintly relic. I had a fragment of bone, vial of blood, or scrap of cloth from a robe of a saint infused with holy protective power. When carried or worn, all int and wisdom checks are made to resist fear, domination, possession, or other harmful effects are easy. BGD says int and wisdom checks to resist fear, domination, possession, and other harmful effects are easy, and dying timers are rolled with advantage. All right, let's add that in there. All right, so that's the damsel. Let's go over here to what's next? The knight. Okay, let's go back to the knight then. Oddly enough, the knight was the first one that was worked on, and so it has to, we got to go back to it and we have to get it right. Which is kind of ironic here that the knight probably requires the most amount of work. Because yeah, I think we can't do be going from squire to knight in this. This is being set up so that yes, you are the chivalric tank of a warrior and mounted. How do we handle that? Come to think of it, knight needs to be mounted. On a quality military quality fox. Okay, so reflex, we still have reflex. For close ranged melee attacks on successful hit on modified 15, roll strength for a follow-up strike. Counter strike for close range melee attacks when hit by an enemy, roll strength to strike back as a reaction. As a reaction. BGD's got. Okay, as a reaction. Parry for close range melee attacks when hit by an enemy, roll strength to subtract your weapon bonus for the damage you sustain. For close range melee attacks when hit by an enemy, roll strength to subtract your weapon bonus from the damage you sustain. Ancestral weapon. This primary melee weapon of your choice is a family heirloom. You can opt to re-roll once any weapon effort dealt. See that? I like that because that allows you to put, you're probably putting your bonuses into weapon if you're a knight, and this is re-rolling, so it's not making you go up to magic or something, and that way it skips that discussion that we were having earlier. This is a re-roll of your weapon effort. You're better at dealing weapon damage. Hey, Doc. There are spells in ME like Curse of Ord and Arn's Hex you can use to look at for inspiration if you want to deal a bane to a foe. Well, I was thinking about if that happens to the wielder. Yeah, the knight's pretty darn solid now, even though it's taken a lot of work. Make a mount a milestone reward. I can make note of that down here. Mount, but it seems like how are you going to be a knight without a mount? Mounts can make melee attacks from the saddle easy and deal double damage. Let's see. Mount, military quality fox. Or let's write the other way. Fox of military quality. This seems like a good upgrade. Melee attacks from the saddle are easy. And deal double damage. Yes, the War Fox. And I do call them War Foxes. War Fox. So we might have this. Let's see. So knight ancestral weapon. Reroll. Yep. Fine blade. So the next one is keen blade. This fine sword or axe with a superior edge scores a critical hit on the roll of a natural 18+. And then mail hauberk. A full-length coat of mail emblazoned with sigils of blessing, +3 defense, soaks 2 more points from any incoming source. I like that. Let's go here. Let's go. A full-length coat of mail emblazoned with sigils of blessing, +3 defense, soaks 2 points of incoming damage from any source. I like that better than the Battlemaster harness thing. I like that one. So that's I think that's leaning into the setting a bit more. I like that. Okay, moving on. Oh, we got one more. Okay, the knave. Let's go. Knave. From the shadows. Your first strike doesn't give them time to scream. If you have the ability, so I said, if your target is unaware of your presence, your first attack hits automatically, no roll required. From the shadows. If you have the ability to harm a foe and you attack undetected, your first strike, if you have the ability to harm a foe and you attack undetected, your first strike hits automatically, no roll required. Now, actually, as I'm looking at this now, this reminds me of when I had my nephews sneak up on those orcs. Oh, you like the knave? Well, yeah. No, a knight is still a knight, even when on foot to defend the castle or the court. Right, right. But the fox would still be in the stable. He would still have it. Oh, okay. I see. But BGD says, I think the unique ability to soak damage is a great way to make the knight class feel special. BG says, I didn't want a knave to be able to sneak attack an incorporeal undead like a ghost. Okay. Your first attack hit, you're right, because here, if your target is unaware, okay, well, what if you're, so that's why, I see. So that's why you specify if you have the ability to harm a foe and you attack undetected, your first strike hits automatically. But now what I'm wondering here about is that I'm thinking about my nephew sneaking up on those orcs. The orcs were not, when they were playing AD&D, the orcs were not aware of their presence. And I said, I gave them a free attack. I said, have a free attack. And they all missed. And then, okay, then it was time to roll initiative. They got initiative and they rolled and they all missed again. And I said, in retrospect, that was the wrong call. What I should have done instead of giving them a free attack was just give them an automatic attack or an automatic hit. Their first hits, well, if they're going to charge in, the orcs don't know they're there. They're going to surprise them. What should happen is that they get free hits. So if your target is unaware of your presence, your first attack hits automatically, no roll required. Is that something that I should be doing for basically everybody now? Like, hey, you were unaware. How do we make this different? From what anyone could do when attacking an unaware target. Reroll damage. Maybe they need to be able to reroll damage. And you see my problem here is that, okay, if the target, it doesn't matter who you are if the target's completely unaware of your presence. Oh, well, thank you, BGD. Don't forget to like this unique stream and reward the kind of innovative, creative work that Heath is performing. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Very much due to your notes here coming in. Or give them an easier time sneaking up on them. Well, we got Lurker here. Okay, so Lurker, I said all stealth rolls are easy. So BGD says your stealth dex rolls are easy and are hard to detect in a large crowd. Okay, so that gives them adds some additional stuff here. You spent your life slipping through alleys, brush, and shadows. Your stealth dex rolls are easy, and you are hard to detect in a large crowd. Underhanded. You know how to work a crowd, a mark, or a drunk night. Int or charisma checks involving deception, bribery, appraisal, sleight of hand, or trickery are always easy. Int, charisma, dex checks involving disruption, bribery, appraisal, sleight of hand, or trickery are easy. Okay, so all of that stayed. Okay. Masterwork knife. So this is also, again, we kind of have crossover. If we're going at a hidden weapon for the troubadour, this is kind of crossover. So here we have masterwork knife, a perfectly balanced blade, short and slender with a razor and razor sharp. This weapon scores a critical hit on a natural 18, 19, or 20. Okay. Expert locks, a bark cloth roll, fine custom picks, files, and hooks. When using these tools to disable traps, open locks, or otherwise break and enter, you roll great effort. When using these traps to disable traps, open locks, or otherwise break and enter, you roll great effort. Okay. That stayed. Lucky charm. Rubbing this ancient coin featuring the well-worn image of an unknown king has gotten you out of more than one sticky situation. Any dex check to avoid damage or save yourself is easy. Okay, so that one stayed. Okay, I like that. All right, we have been through it now. The advantage in stealth is that it happens more often. Yeah. Mike says, this is the kind of stream that brought me to the Geekverse. Well, all right. Well, we're going to probably be doing a lot more of these types of streams because there's a lot more stuff to kind of make here. I'm going to start posting some of the stuff to Reddit too. Some of like the ICRPG and Reddit and the OSE and Reddit. Well, so okay, so we got that. Okay, so blending into the crowd, we ended up with that with Lurker. So BGD picked up on that and sent that to hard to detect. BGD, I took out the always because ICG. I took out the always. Oh wait, hold on. Well, where was that? BG says I took out the always because in ICRPG I differentiate between easy and always easy. Something easy can be made normal with a hard modifier, but something always easy can be canceled by always hard. Okay. Okay. So, right, there's a little bit of a change here. So that is important. Okay, so underhanded. So int checks involving deception, bribery, appraisal, sleight of hand, or trickery. I said it's always easy. And so it should just be easy because there is something called always easy. So we could mechanically, yes. So that's a difference. I need to check for that. They are always easy is extremely strong. That is stronger than probably what I was intending here. And what you put, this is just easy. These things are easy. Because something could be always, because that could be modified. If you've got like a hard modifier, then it would become normal. Right. Okay. That's an excellent point. Okay. differentiating between always. I'll probably search the entire document for that. Okay, that is all the notes. So I can go through this with different notes. BG says you could buff an easy ability up to always easy later with a milestone. Yeah. Always easy is an improvement. Okay, so that leaves me to kind of go through here, and I got to like clean up all of I got the duplicates and stuff like that, and overwriting, and look at all this. So I need to do that. That leaves us with that leaves us with only 2 character classes: the cleric, which I have not done anything with, and then also the yeoman or the sergeant, which is going to be our general fighter character without restrictions. Oh, hey, Scenes. You are here just as we're wrapping up. I hope you go back and watch. This has been a fantastic stream. Oh, Witch? Wait, did I not do Witch? I don't think you sent me Witch. So you're working on Witch. So you sent me Troubadour, Ranger, Damsel, Knight, and Knave. But you're right. We need to look at Witch. We need to look at her again. Okay, so we'll go back and look at Witch. Yeah, you're right. We didn't look at Witch again here today. We looked at Knight, Druid. Oh, we did look at Druid. We looked at Knight, Damsel, Knave, Ranger, and Troubadour. I have to work on Yeoman and Locta. Okay, so I may do that. I'm going to start doing that this afternoon. But don't forget, I'm going to send out an email. Actually, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write an email to go out that tonight, season 2, episode 2 of The Cultist comes out at 7 o'clock. And then there's a stream where Brianna and I talk about season 1, season 2 behind the scenes at about 7:10. All right. I've loved this. You're right. I think that these kinds of discussions and these kinds of streams are the heart and soul of the morning grind in the Geekverse. So thank you so much. And especially thank you to Chris BGD for sending in these notes. It's been fantastic. All right. I will be around, so I'll see you all tonight I'll be in the comments on the stream. So I will see you all tonight. But for now, go forth, be creative, and be constructive. Later, everybody.